the two best numbers geeks at the network, plus a third back in New York there. And you, Steve, give us a sense of sort of where the state of play is on some of these big issues, and critically, in some of these big battlegrounds, especially when you have somebody like Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania coming on board in what, you know, is being described in some quarters as the ultimate battleground state. It's the crown jewel everybody wants.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's break this thing out. The road to 270 map, we're going to be using it a lot between now and Election Day. What you got here, one way to look at this is how the race looked in terms of the road to 270 all year, and then how it looks since Kamala Harris replaced Joe Biden at the end of July. So how it looked all year was we had 6 largely recognized core battleground states, and you could really divide them easily into 2 groups. This was pre-Harris, and it was basically the Sun Belt states, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, were the best for Trump when he was running against Joe Biden. One of the key reasons for that was Trump had shown marked improvement among non-white voters, also among younger voters in the polling relative to how he had done in 16 and 20. And in diverse states like Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, that was popping up in the polls. Meanwhile, states with older populations, more white populations like Wisconsin, certainly Michigan, Pennsylvania, they've been very strong for Trump in 16, but he hadn't grown his support as much there the way he had in the Sun Belt. So what it shaped up as was, from Trump's perspective, these were, let me select his name and show you, from Trump's perspective, these were his 3 ripest targets, and if he had gotten those, he would have been right there on the cusp of 270, 268, needing just one of the 3, let's call them Big Ten states. In the Biden strategy, this is Harris's name now, but when Biden was in the race, it was this. It was basically hang on for dear life in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and it gets you to exactly 270, and you win the election by that kind of a margin. If Trump could just break into one of those states with the Sun Belt, he wins the presidency. That's what it was. Now, since Harris got in, she's shown improvement in the polls overall. Go into the crosstabs. Where is the improvement most specifically demographically? Double-digit gains she has posted relative to Biden with Hispanic voters, with young voters, also to some degree with independent voters. But what does that mean for this road to 270 map? Well, again, think of where Trump made his gains. Hispanic voters, non-white voters, places like Arizona and Nevada. Harris's polling has improved markedly in those states relative to Biden. Also, something we've seen is a state that Democrats have talked about making a battleground. There's been a lot of skepticism. North Carolina. Remember, Trump won this by 75,000 votes in 2020. There's actually been a couple of polls recently that now have Harris ahead, like a point we're talking about here, but actually have her ahead in North Carolina. There's Georgia as well. Interestingly, of all the battleground states right now, Trump is doing his best in Georgia. But what you see here is, because of those gains Harris has made, because of where they come from demographically, it's opening up potential paths for her in what had been Trump's strongest area of the battleground. And so if you start to play this out, there's a million different ways you can do this. But look, let's say there's a scenario here where, you know, Trump gets Pennsylvania, you mentioned it. It's the biggest of all these battleground states, 19 electoral votes. But now, you know, previously under Biden, that would have been it. Game over. But again, if Harris were to say win Arizona, okay, and then if she were to get North Carolina, again, this is just one of many, many possibilities. You see, she's opened up a Sun Belt path here that allows her to lose the biggest individual swing state on the map. That was not the case when Joe Biden was the candidate. Right now, at least, we'll see if this sustains, but right now, at least, that possibility is alive for Democrats with Harris.
Real quick, Steve, just as we talk about 4 minutes away, 3 minutes away from the start of things getting kicked off for night 3 of the Democratic National Convention, Tim Walz going to be the big headline tonight. What is the Walz factor here as it relates to, you know, his state of Minnesota? This is a state, like Republicans all talk about it. They like to think they have a play there. It's obviously a blue state and has been for a long time. But there is a sense that Tim Walz can help in some of those Rust Belt battlegrounds, right? Yeah,
I mean, look, that is their hope. And let me see if I can call this up on the fly right here.
I'm doing a very rude thing and tossing this to you without having told you I was going to ask.
No, I love it because I love getting into the Minnesota county map. But here you go. You could see here.
I bet you do.
In 2020, Biden won this by 7. It was actually close in 2016. Trump actually got 2.5 points from victory here. I think the thing to keep in mind here, and I'm just seeing if I can get it up. Unfortunately, I can't. I'm going to tell you very quickly then. Here's the thing for Democrats. They see that they think Walz has a cultural appeal and a cultural connection in places, in the areas of a state like Minnesota or Wisconsin for that matter, or Michigan for that matter, that Trump has made the biggest gains. You know, rural areas, areas with large non-college white populations. You see, I think you were showing that video stressing that he's a hunter, that sort of thing. They think that's going to not win them back those areas, but maybe get them a critical extra chunk of votes in those places. The problem for Walz is, we'll see if it's different now. He's being marketed, you know, by different people nationally. But when he was in Minnesota in 2022, his performance in that state, just in terms of where his votes came from, it's the exact same distribution as it was for Joe Biden. Heavy, heavy Twin Cities metro area, you know, very, very loses by huge margins in the rural areas. It's not like he was showing strength in the rural areas that Biden wasn't. It's not like he was, you know, weaker in the metro areas than Biden was. It's a very typical Trump-era Democratic performance that relies on college-educated suburbanites.
Hey, Steve, real quick, only because I put this in my calendar probably 10 years ago. Is it your birthday tomorrow? Do I have that right?
Well, I don't like to admit it anymore, but maybe 10 years ago I would have.
Happy birthday, friend. Appreciate you. Thank you for working on your birthday week. A big one for you, I know.
You got it.
Thanks, pal. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.